no idea how well you're going to be able to hear me because I'm doing 80. Alright, that's probably better. Welcome to Walsenburg, and where I'm reconnecting to the Colorado TAT. Cutting off here, and then heading west until I reconnect with the route, which is in maybe 10 or 15 miles, I'm not actually sure. The goal for today is somewhere around Sargent's, and then somewhere pretty near the finish tomorrow. Using the new cameras, so this will be the only section of the TAT where I have the new cameras instead of the old ones. Get up here and get reconnected with the route and just ride. The nice thing is I don't gotta worry about how fast or slow I'm going, I just gotta ride. It's a little windy. Welcome to the Spanish Peaks of Colorado. I've ridden through this area many times. I don't know that I have any real videos from it though. My CDT video is probably the closest I've come to having video from riding through here. Salida, 168 miles. I still kind of feel like Sargent's is going to be the better option, but I guess we'll figure it out when I get there. But yeah, welcome back to the TAT. Let's see what changed. Mostly the big thing was the cameras. I did start using, so I got the Alpine Panniers from Moscow Moto. I think I got them yesterday, and so this is the first chance I've had to really test them. I'm liking them so far though. They are slightly larger than the Scout Panniers that I had. I think they're like 5 liters bigger, but they're several pounds lighter, which is kind of interesting. So they're bigger, but they're lighter. And they're just a soft pannier, but the biggest thing is they don't have the little saddlebag holster thing that the Scout panniers had. They just bolt directly onto your, they strap onto your pannier rack. Yeah, well, we're going to try those out. I am liking that they're a little bit bigger because I was able to actually move some stuff from my tail bag to my saddlebags, so it got weight even lower on the bike. I'm not carrying as much stuff as I normally do for longer trips because I'm only out for 4 days, but I'm also not, minimalist right now. I have all the same stuff that I normally carry. I just have, slightly less things that I know I'm not going to need for 4 days. And the biggest thing is it'll be the first time I'm testing out the new camera setups. So this will be the only video in the TAT series where I have the new cameras. Hopefully they work pretty well. You're getting nothing but cinematic. It's because my sound sucked. I apologize. Well, the goal for today is Sargent's or somewhere nearby there. Salida, 168 miles wouldn't be bad. And then I'm just going to ride. The nice thing is I don't have a giant loop or anything like that I got to worry about getting to or something on a specific date. I just have to be back by Friday for my VA appointment, and that's easy. So I'm just going to ride, see where I get. This is basically the hardest part of the TAT. It's the most technical part of the TAT. This is all stuff I've ridden before, it's the Alpine Loop, it's all that stuff. So for me, that's not going to be much of a switch. I've done all this already once, twice, a couple times. But it's worth it to kind of show you what the TAT looks like in Colorado. It's the only part of it that I would probably agree with, that if you were doing it on a dual sport, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But even there's 70 or 80 miles of it that is particularly technical. The rest of it is a lot of this stuff. The Alpine Loop's definitely not easy. It's all steep. It's all quite a lot of exposure. And it's very rocky. It's definitely one of those ones where if you get it wrong, the consequences can be significant. It'd be interesting to see if my GPS glitches. It's done it twice now on the way down here, but it's like all of a sudden it just loses its fix and thinks that it's in a different state. Because it'll just all of a sudden scroll wildly fast somewhere else and then come back and then go again. Like, it's all of it, and then it stabilizes again and it's totally fine. It's done it twice and it's really weird, but it self-corrects in, 15 seconds. So it's not really a big deal, but it's definitely like, what the hell is going on? So I'll release these videos at the end when I edit everything else. But when I do the movie, the feature-length version of the TAT, I will drop them in the middle. So if you're watching the full-length version of the TAT, don't get confused. This is what I did last, because the Colorado stuff wasn't open in April, May when I came through the first time. So it's middle of August now and everything's open. So that's why. So Great Sand Dunes National Park is basically off to my left, kind of on the over here. It's actually kind of over there. But I'm going to go up along these mountains on the east side. Great Sand Dunes is neat, but man, it is in the middle of nowhere. You really gotta try to get to Great Sand Dunes. If you have the opportunity to go see it once, definitely go. Be ready to walk, because everything in that park is a long walk from everything. But it is really neat. I did get new chain and sprockets put on the bike. That was by Apex down in Colorado Springs. I love them. They take great care of me. I found out that ironically they actually know my bike because of how many miles that I put on it. It's on a little bit over 65,000 miles now. So the technicians and stuff there know my bike because nobody else has a T7 with as many miles on it as mine. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I should expect basically afternoon thunderstorms probably every day. We're in that monsoon period where we just kind of get rain on just about every afternoon. But yeah, this should be the most sustained technical portions of the TAT. All the rest of it was pretty simple. The sand in Oregon was probably the only other real hard part. The stuff in Georgia and all that was just fun. That wasn't really difficult. It was fun. It was muddy, but it was fun. Yeah, I gotta see what I'm gonna try and do about the winter and then next summer. I have a lot of editing to do, which is gonna take me into the winter, I would imagine. But after that, I just don't know. Also taking it a little bit easy just because I haven't been riding very much. Because I've been editing. So I don't want being rusty to screw me up. See there, the GPS just glitched. So it's wandering all over the place, and then it'll lock back on. There it goes. God, that's weird. I just wonder why it's doing that. But yeah, you can see just how bad this would be if you came through when it was wet. It's a hell no. I think this is the area where Brock Moto Mission, they got back here a ways and had to turn around. Because yeah, they were getting rained on. It was just a muddy mess. Sometimes you just have to have a good feel for your limitations and know when it's not good. There is nothing wrong with saying, nope, I'm not doing this. Challenge is one thing. I mean, we should all seek to challenge ourselves, do all of that, but there's also a point where safety becomes an issue. You don't want to be doing it where it's actually dangerous. Oh, the TAT group is so funny on Facebook. I ended up just leaving it because it was just getting ridiculous. There was somebody on there telling me that you can't take a bike bigger than a 500 on it, you won't make it. There's a guy arguing with people about difficulty levels of various areas, and he had only gotten his maps like the week before. So he'd never ridden any part of the TAT, and he's trying to sit there and tell people what to do and how to ride it and all this stuff. It's just like, man, I say it all the time, but everybody is an expert on the internet, and it just gets so frustrating sometimes. It's why I left ADV Rider after they got sold. The level of bull to valuable information just flipped. All of a sudden it was almost all bull and very little valuable information, or even accurate information. It became a completely worthless resource very quickly, which is really sad because ADV Rider was one of the best places to get information for the longest time. I mean, it's where I got a ton of my information for stuff to work on the 690, for routes, for, just networking. And it was just so sad to see it completely to bed. Like, the final straw for me on ADV Rider was a guy literally lied about the length of one of the BDRs. I called him on it. It's like, I've ridden the thing, dude. I know that it's true. It's not what you are saying it is. He basically just tried to suggest that I was intentionally trying to deceive people and blew me off. It's like, I don't need this. I'll swap my battery packs out, I guess, in Salina. The problem is Colorado has a Salina and a Salida. There's also a Salina, Kansas. I'm still recording. Yeah, DJI, if you see this or hear about this, please make a way for the light to be brighter. It's really hard to see. Let's see the storm clouds starting to build. Thankfully to my west I'm still clear, so in Colorado all that really matters is what is the weather to your west. More cows. Don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact, don't make eye contact. Their vision's tied to movement. They can't see us if we don't move. I am liking that, from what I can tell, the Osmo is really good about pulling power from the battery pack. It understands when it's plugged in, and it doesn't, the GoPros sometimes, I would have to constantly kind of reach back and turn the battery pack on so that the GoPro would recognize that it has a power source plugged in, and I haven't really had to do this. It's kind of a habit now with that I've developed, but the DJI seems to just recognize when it has power and draws from that until it can't anymore. So yeah, I'm liking the Osmo. Ooh, there my GPS just glitched. So what? So it's scrolling madly. It still says that it has, 10 feet of accuracy. Still there with lockdown. That's so weird. God, it is beautiful though. I love Colorado. Oregon and Idaho have really kind of been the only places that I've looked at where it's like, you know what, I could live here. But there is just something about home. Wish I could get like a motorcycle company or somebody to give me a job where I could do stuff. Yamaha, hire me, let me do social media for you or something. Chase your race team around. I don't care. Like, come on. Hey, Norley. I'm not a creep. I actually promise. I think we'd get along great. I'd love to meet her. Just, she seems like such a nice person. It'd be really cool to just get to talk to her and pick her brain about traveling internationally and all that. Like, God, that'd be cool. They have those gates like that because they'll do cattle drives along the road, and so they need to open the gate to allow the cattle to go through. Let's see, I've been on a bike probably 2 or 3 times where I've basically run into a cattle drive. You pretty much just have to pull over and wait. That's the best thing you can do, is just pull over and let them go by, because you're going to be there for a minute, and there's a lot of cattle when they gotta move them like that. Got plenty of gas to make it to Salida. Got 117. I did drop a bar, but that's probably because of altitude change. The camel tank feeds from vacuum, so if you are either riding in really hot temperatures or going up and down in altitude a lot, sometimes you'll drop a couple of bars before the camel tank will really start feeding. And it's just because it's not really pulling as much of a vacuum. I thought it was that, but no, it's not. It is not the Hardscrabble Ranch. It is this. CR358. Okay, we'll take it nice and easy. Are building. See how long we stay dry on this ride. I am wearing the airbag vest. I do have it in enduro mode. Obviously the goal is not to need it. Get windy again, so I'm going to drop out onto the plains here. But I really don't know when I go back onto dirt, and I might be on this road for a while.
1 hour later.
It was a good lunch. I should make Sargent's today. From Salida to Sargent's is like less than 80 miles. 75 miles to Salida. It's probably about another 70 to Sargent's. But I gotta go over Old Marshall Pass, which will be, if it's anything like what it was in previous years, pretty washed out. It's like 130, 145. So just keeping an eye on weather. It is nice to not really have to worry about my damn cameras. They just work. Basically, the only thing I gotta worry about is, do I have enough power? So this one I don't gotta worry about at all. And this one I just gotta make sure that I swap the batteries on it here and there so that it's plugged in. Hello, Moose. Well, one of you ended up on the wrong side of the fence.
20 minutes later.
That's right, I do go... I don't know if I go through it, but I go very near Tomichi, Colorado. This was paved. That's about 20 more miles of pavement than I was expecting. Dirt? Yes, okay, finally. That was almost 38 miles of entirely pavement. Hi, deer. Several deer. Pick a direction, buddy. Thank you. Hi, ladies. You're okay. High jump champion. That's very pretty. Super early for, like, none of the aspens are going to be changing yet. Way too early for any of that. So if you didn't know this, but almost all of these aspens are going to be one tree. So aspens reproduce by sending their roots out underground and then sprouting new trunks. So it's basically just one giant organism. So most of the time these entire groves are just one tree. And so likely this whole hillside is just one big aspen tree. For a while there was a grove of aspens, I don't know where it is exactly, but it was considered to be the largest single organism on the planet. And then they identified mycelium networks and stuff like that where you have single growths of fungus or whatever that are miles and miles and miles. Oh yeah, you can see right there it's raining. You're okay, guys. I'm just gonna go over here. Pardon me, little one. You need to move, buddy. Thank you. Walk right in front of me and stop. Yeah, that cloud looks ominous. So we're gonna work on getting to Salida. It's a hell of a hill. That one, but of course it says local traffic only. When it says local traffic only in Colorado, typically that means this doesn't go through. Of course, also sometimes those local traffic signs are put up by people with property back here because they don't want people coming back here, which is not legal. It's a public road, or it's not. You don't get to determine who uses a public road. Which, you know, I get both sides of it. It's also going to be really annoying if you have livestock out here and people are being stupid, people ripping through here at 60 miles an hour. Yeah, that's going to be really annoying. But it ain't your road. Rain. I don't think I'm going to be in it for very long based on the clouds, so I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to worry about rain gear. Hello. Where are you? That is a Wolverine. Hell yeah, buddy. Wolverine or a badger. It was, I mean, God, it was big. I guess it was probably a badger. I've seen. Damn. That was a fat son of a... It almost looked like a Wolverine, though. I need to look, because... I mean, they're in the same family. So I don't know which one it would be, but... God, it was big. Rain in the mountains doesn't tend to stick around all that long. Yeah, I'm going to do like bands of it because it just stopped again. Ooh, I don't like that. Let's not make the tallest target. Bonk, 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 bonk. Most of it. Probably gonna go right back into another band of rain though. Oh God. Oh man, look at that. I hope the lens is clean. Alright, well, I'm going to be on Pavement at a minimum for a while, so I will see you once I either figure out if I'm staying here tonight to wait out the weather, or if I push forward to Sergeant's. So, see you in a bit.
Eventually.
Not sure how well you're going to be able to hear me, but I did keep going. I realized based on the map that I'm essentially going right through the one pocket in the weather, and so I should be able to make it through. And if not, I'll be pretty close to Poncha Springs and Salida. So, gonna give it a try, and we'll see what happens. So, I will catch up to you once I actually get some dirt, because I gotta go through some other places first.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Marshall Pass, here we come. Might get rained on a little bit. Won't be the worst thing I've ever ridden through. It's only 25 miles to Sergeant's, so push through just about anything for 25 miles. Not sure what condition the pass is in. Previously it's had problems with big washouts, where you basically end up having to kind of ride up the creek bed, essentially. We'll see. I know that once I get to the top, where the Monarch Crest Trail is at, where I rode the CDT, I know from there to Sergeant's is fine. Yeah, so it's technically not Marshall Pass, it's Poncha Pass Road. I've never ridden this before. I've seen videos from it, but I've never ridden it. So this is actually new. Until I get onto the other side of it, and then I'll be back on familiar ground. Okay. Well, that answers that question. So, alright. I'm going to go around, I guess. Didn't know that was there. Alright, well, Marshall Pass it is, I guess. That I'm not really upset about. That's, the road is gone. So, there's nothing you can do about that. Be worth putting a sign out here that says road closed, 3 miles ahead or whatever. The other road is basically just down at the bottom of the canyon. Alright, here comes my intersection. I would guess from there to Sargent's will be about 15 miles. High cows. There's the CDT and there's Monarch Crest Trail. I've got 16 miles to Sargent's. You, I need to move. There's Marshall Pass, 10,842. I need you to move. Thank you. I do remember the water bars on Marshall Pass. They're fun. Just gotta be careful I don't find a ditch on one. Like this. Oh, I didn't know. So I found this out yesterday, I think. I had heard about a guy who had a really bad wreck on the Wyoming BDR. Those are cows. And I mean really bad, like ICU for a week bad. And they were working on trying to get more, just basically trying to work to see who had local knowledge of helping get his bike and get, all the logistics stuff. And it was actually ADV Tech Moto who's out east, and we've conversed a little bit about the carpet iter tablet and some other stuff, and I had no idea it was him until he posted a thing on his YouTube, because I knew the name of the person who had been hospitalized, but they didn't say anything. I didn't know that that was who that was. And so he posted a thing the day before yesterday, basically saying, hey, sorry, I haven't been around for a bit. I've been in ICU for a week in Wyoming. I was like, oh, I know who you are. You had a really big one. Hopefully he will recover quickly. But yeah, it just goes to show at any time you can have something turn your life around, whether you wanted to or not. It just shows you, like he had that. Norley had her accident. Hers was just a random fall from just getting the front wheel slightly wrong. That ended her Africa trip. You know, mine was literally just a rock that I couldn't see between the two wheel lines. 5:30. Still got plenty of sunlight. Jeez, it's beautiful. Alright, welcome to Tomichi Creek Trading Post / Sergeants. I doubt tequila is the answer, but it's worth a shot. I agree with that.
Well, let's see how this works. I'm gonna just try and use my rear-facing cam as my selfie cam. Here in Tomichi Creek, got a nice little cabin. All my stuff's charging. I'm also working on downloading footage still. It's late, which is why I'm using this camera, because it took that long to download the footage. I'm gonna finish getting ready for bed. Probably rack out. I did 330 miles today. And I will almost certainly finish or get very close to finishing tomorrow. From here to Telluride, it's less than 200 miles. I'm gonna go do dishes and get ready to go to sleep. I am tired. It was definitely a long day, if not necessarily a challenging day. Tomorrow's gonna be a challenging day, not necessarily a long day. So, balance. Hey. Alright. Let's get going again.
God, it is nice how fast these turn on. You just click them and boom. Didn't sleep great. The cabin started off too hot, which was interesting. I don't know, I just wasn't super comfortable. Not sure what this afternoon's gonna end up looking like. There is a high chance, like 70+%, for rain this afternoon, starting at about 1. So 70% of the time it works every time. I will most likely get to the whatever my end is for Colorado today, just because it's not that damn far. I think to Telluride from here is less than 150 miles. The weather has definitely affected the passes. Black Bear and Imogen Pass are both closed to mudslides, so yike. That makes me a little bit concerned about what Ophir is like. You know, Corkscrew's so steep, if it gets wet, like, it's damn near unrideable. So we'll see what happens. So yeah, on my CDT route, you just continue up this, and it gets rougher and rougher and rougher. It's a big cattle guard. As far as I can tell, the cameras worked perfectly yesterday. Inspires confidence, at least. It sucks when you can't trust your camera equipment. Really, the Alpine Loop will be the first time I really gotta be careful about side-by-sides and stuff. It's Tuesday, so it shouldn't be super busy, but I mean, in the summer, the Alpine Loop is always busy. That's unfortunately just the reality of it now. It's like Moab. There's never an off time. I didn't really talk about it, but I did switch pants. I'm not using the Adventure Spec pants anymore. I'm using the Moto Woodsman. These are the ones with the armor built into them. That was one of the things I've been kind of waiting for a while for Moto to do, was integrated armor. But these are more comfortable. The Lion's pant from Adventure Spec is really nice, but it's very much kind of like a skinny jean fit. It's super stretchy, but it's quite tight, and I was just never really comfortable with that. Trying these, they're a little bit waterproof. Well, they're water resistant, so unless I'm just getting absolutely poured on, I don't really need rain pants. And then the biggest thing is they're looser fit. I'm liking them. They're really very comfortable. They're also kind of stretchy, so that's nice. I've worn the Woodsman's pant before, but it didn't have the armor in it, and yeah, it just didn't work for me. Miles to Lake City, so I should get there somewhere around 10:30, 11, I guess. Man, it must have rained like crazy back here yesterday and last night. It's what, 10 o'clock? Yeah, just about. And everything is still soaked. That's nuts. We might be doing Cinnamon to Animus Forks and then drop down to Silverton. And that might be it. Absolutely gorgeous. How's it going? What are you guys up to?
BDR.
Nice.
How about yourself?
I'm following the TAT south.
Oh, there you go.
Meerkat, Meerkat Adventure. I
Yeah.
recognize your voice. Rock on, dude. I watch videos all the time. Yeah, we're heading north. There's some bad rain in section 1.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I may not end up going much past Cinnamon Pass.
Yeah.
Man.
Because, yeah, I know, like, Engineer and Corkscrew and all that stuff, if they're wet, they're a nightmare.
Yeah, we actually ended up taking the easy bypass
yesterday
because of the rain. Last dollar's slick as
Is it?
It is so slippery.
Wait,
He ended up going
this
down.
morning, Teller County announced that Black Bear and Imogen are closed due to
saw that.
mudslides.
Yeah.
So it had to be nasty.
Yeah. We bypassed him. It was still slippery.
The more I get, I think I'm going to try Cinnamon and just see what it looks like. And if it's nasty, I'll just divert from Animus down to Silverton.
Yeah. Yep, that's not too bad. At least there's
Because I know it,
there.
like, I mean, all of the high ones, Engineer, Corks, like all those ones, if they're wet, they're a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we said.
Yeah, we
like,
bypassed them. And then
either we head up and have a nightmare of a day, or at least try and get somewhere and camp.
From I started in Sargent's.
Oh, nice.
So you're good from here, you know, to Cumberland and all that stuff. Well, cool.
Rock on, man. Well, good meeting you.
You too. Take it easy. Go fast, don't die. Where are you guys out of?
Denver. He's out of the Springs.
Oh, nice. So yeah, not too big of a trip for you guys. Yeah, that kind of confirms what I thought. If Last Dollar Road was a mess, then the passes are going to be impassable. Last Dollar Road is the easy alternate for the BDR, and probably a good idea for this too. Oops. Didn't really want to do that, but... Jesus, dude. Gotta watch those turns. Down here is a thing for Alfred Packer. He was a guy who offered to lead a group of people through the mountain passes. They got snowed in and trapped, and he ate several of them. I believe he was the sole survivor from the group, and so he ended up actually going on trial for murder and a whole bunch of other stuff, because it was shady. The argument was basically that he was never planning on actually guiding them anywhere. He took them out here and murdered them, and then got snowed in and trapped unexpectedly. So he spent several years in prison, but he did actually get released at some point. Probably not going to narrate too much on this. Just gonna ride. Cinnamon's pretty straightforward. There's a couple switchbacks near the top, but it's just kind of fun. What the f are you? God damn, dude! Don't look at me like I'm the. What are you doing? Why is it always around Lake City and Cinnamon Pass that I have so many stupid close calls? With people driving like on the wrong side of the road and stuff. I mean, Lake City is so nice. Like, why is everybody driving around here just a jackwagon? Times where I would say the direction of the BDR doesn't let you see the most beautiful part of it, because when you're coming down the hill, it's all kind of behind you, so you really don't see it. Hi, dear. You'll see me sitting down kind of any chance I get on this. And a lot of it is also so I can check my mirrors. So I gotta keep an eye out for anybody behind me. Thank you. Alright, I've officially warmed up. That's in surprisingly bad shape. Yeah. It's had a lot of water down it. Holy crap. Cinnamon's normally no big deal. Really, the only trick for the switchbacks is just stay as far outside as you can. Give yourself the most turning radius that's available. And if it has a bank or something like this, use it. Because, yeah. Alright, let's see how fast I catch up to these side-by-sides. Ooh, we're gonna do this. And get a straight shot at it, because holy crap. There might be one more. I don't remember now. That's the worst shape I've seen it. This is my 4th time. And I mean, seriously, that bit there is still harder than anything on any other part of the TAT. Like, by an order of magnitude. So, I mean, if you can do the Alpine loop on a bike, you can use that bike for the TAT. Because this is the hardest part. Okay, you guys can't stop in the middle of the trail. Whew, yeah, my hands are worked. Not in riding shape. Alright, take a break.
20 minutes later.
Well, there you can see why I will be going to Silverton. So, no drone, because I don't want to get struck by lightning. And we're going to work on getting out of here. The good news is, basically from here to Silverton is all downhill. Ooh, yeah, you can see it coming. Yeah, I'm gonna get rained on here in a minute. The only other sketchy part of Cinnamon is the very base of it right at Animus. Because it's really rocky there. So we'll see how this goes. Yep, there's rain. uphill portion of the ride is postponed until further notice. Alright, I will get into Silverton. I will figure out if I'm going north or south to try and start towards home. I'm really not sure which one's going to be the better idea, to be honest. That is probably the biggest problem that Silverton has, is just people being dumb on vacation. Ripping through on side-by-sides, snowmobiles in the winter. Just an all-around dumbassery. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the Colorado portion of the TAT. This will get dumped into the middle of my TAT film, but it'll be the last video shared for the TAT series. The series will be in chronological order. Hope you enjoyed it. Not my favorite route. I think if you did Colorado to Oregon, it would probably be much more enjoyable. Some people really want to connect coast to coast, in which case, do your thing. Oh, but yeah, I'm gonna get down into Silverton, which if you're on the TAT is a great place to stop and stay. It's not technically on the route, but it's a very short diversion. They have camping and RV spots and gas and all that stuff. And if some of the passes aren't doable, you're probably gonna end up in here, because it's pretty much the only town on a lot of the cutoff roads. So if you go around a pass, you're probably going to go through Silverton. You can't stop in the middle of the trail. Alright, well, thank you for coming along with me. Sorry I didn't get to do all of the passes, but that is the nature of adventure riding. Sometimes you just have to find a way through. So, I'm gonna get down here. I'm gonna get gas and get the bike ready to slab back home. And I will see you